Bitcoin bounced from $17,000 back to the $19,000 over the weekend, but there are some bearish signal I saw on the chart. Welcome back. My name is Chui. This is your trading and investing channel, Blockchain Thunder. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the bullish and some of the bearish signals on the chart, but mostly bearish signal. So bear with me with a moment. Let's dive right into it. First of all, let's start with the daily chart of Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the CME chart first. Okay, so this is the CME chart. As you can see, over the weekend, Bitcoin created a huge gap on the CME future chart. And this gap is from about $18,500 to about $19,000, so $500 of gap. This is a huge gap, and in my opinion, there's a high possibility that Bitcoin is going to refute this gap pretty soon, because almost every gap on the Bitcoin chart, especially on the daily chart, daily gap will be filled probably sooner than better than later. So this gap is the first bearish signal. The second bearish signal, let's take a look at the spot chart. On the spot chart, let's take a look at the RSI first. So as I mentioned before, we are forming this trend line here. Now, if we take a look at it carefully, Bitcoin touched it once, twice, third time, a breakout, and then break down. In this process, a lot of people lose hope and sell in a loss. So this corresponds to this dip. So lots of people lose hope and starting to sell at a loss. But over the weekend, we saw some bullish signal, which is these several weeks. You can see these long wicks to the bottom. These are buying pressures from the bulls. So this is the first bullish signal on the daily chart. And this is why we got this bounce over the weekend. Associating with the price action, the RSI also bounced off this resistance line and to the upside. However, if you look at my previous video, if RSI bounce off this kind of trend line, the next logical thing is for the RSI to come back and retest this trend line. Therefore, this is bearish in the short term for me. There's a high possibility that the RSI will come back and retest this trend line. And if this happens, I think there is a possibility that the price can plunge to where I don't know yet. But keep an eye on the values of RSI. If it's starting to retesting this line, there's where we are starting to accumulate. Now, if you watch my previous video, you know that the BitMEX index funding is really good for my buying and selling opportunities. So over the weekend, we can see that the BitMEX index funding was negative. This is why I've been accumulating in this region. So I bought some Bitcoin because of this bullish signal all these weeks, and also the negative BitMEX index funding bar. These two bullish signal, and based on these two bullish signal, bought some Bitcoin in this region. But today, actually the day on Sunday, and today is Monday, because the BitMEX index funding starting to become positive, I have sold majority of my Bitcoin that accumulate in this region, along this region. And that is my trading strategy. Buy it when the BitMEX index funding is negative and sell it when the index becomes positive. It's that simple. Now, if you take a look at the 4-hourly chart, you can see we have a bunch of positive bars. This is not good for Bitcoin in the near term. There's a high possibility that Bitcoin is coming back to to retest some of these levels. The first support you should look out for is this one. The second support is this region. We don't want Bitcoin to starting to retesting this region again. It's better that Bitcoin can bounce off from this line, and then we have a chance to retest the $20,000 in the near term. But if Bitcoin plunge through this level into this level, then we might have some trouble, and there is a possibility that Bitcoin can break this level, because if the price tests a support too many times, there's high possibility that this support can break. So we don't want Bitcoin to come back to this region. It's better for Bitcoin to bounce off this support to the upside. Now let's come back to the daily chart. Actually, let's go to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we can see that the BitMEX index funding is still positive. So this is the things that worries me. If this continues, we might have a huge plunge in the near few weeks. And also, this candle wicks, although it has some buying pressures from the downside, but this candle is not a very beautiful candle, because in the huge upside momentum like this, on the top, if you have a candle like this, have a short body at the top and long wick at the bottom, people call this kind of a candle hanging man candle. So it's a bearish signal. If this week's candle cannot surpass the high of this one, which is at around $19,467 level, if Bitcoin price cannot surpass $19,500, this bearish signal will playing out. So there's a possibility that we might plunge from here. But if the bulls can push the price above 19,500, then we might retest the $20,000 pretty soon. But if you want to long Bitcoin here, I definitely don't recommend it, because look at the BitMEX index funding. In my opinion, when you got this many positive bars, it is really dangerous to long in this kind of a price action. Therefore, be careful, bulls. Be careful of the price action and be careful of the BitMEX index funding bars. Now, before I go, I want to share this news for you. Now, you can start buying Bitcoin with Apple Pay through this Lumi Wallet app, which means Apple is starting to paying attention in the cryptocurrency world. To me, this is not surprising, because Facebook has Libra, and the PayPal and MicroStrategy and Grayscale, they're all going into Bitcoin. So they're all going into cryptocurrency world. So to keep competitive, it's sooner or later, Apple, Google, Amazon, all these big tech companies, they will dip their toes into the cryptocurrency world. So are you still looking for all these big tech companies to come in and buy all those Bitcoins? Do you want to compete with all these big tech companies? Or do you starting to accumulate Bitcoin now? Well, I am accumulating as much as I can. I'm not your financial advisor. Don't buy or sell according to my analysis. But if I were you, I will be starting to buy and accumulate. Alright, so that is my short update for Bitcoin for this week. What do you guys think about the price of Bitcoin? Do you think it can surpass $20,000 anytime soon? Or do you think it will come back and retest some of these supporting levels? Go down to the comment section and let me know. And if you like my content, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. My name is Chui. This is your trading and investing channel, Blockchain Thunder. Thank you guys so much. Come back to the channel. I wish you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.